Hello, Streetwear 365 community. Happy Monday. As according to the post that I made a few days ago, we're doing the first Q&A, and so I'm just going to go through the questions on the questions board of our community page on Streetwear 365 and answer the ones I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll say very upfront that I don't know because I don't know everything. However, I do know a few things. So let's have a look. Let's go to the questions board and we'll start at the bottom. First, I can't find a good manufacturer with a low minimum order quantity, MOQ. Okay, I'm gonna leave that question because I don't have. I'm not a. I'm not really. I don't have the authority to speak on manufacturers and minimum order quantities, but yeah, I understand why that could be difficult. But I know that there are lots of resources out there. I mean, I'm sure you can just do a search online, like manufacturer list, and you can buy these like clothing brand manufacturer list. You can pay for these resources. Like a lot of people do it. Like I'm trying to think who the creator is now. Maybe it's called like Glass something. Let me find this because whoever is asking this, Glass Factory. Yeah, so this guy goes around to lots of different manufacturers and does exactly that. Like like he just finds the garments and he asks like how much it costs, and then he gives you like their card at the end, like their business card to show like what the manufacturer is, and then they tell you the minimum order quantities. So it might be useful to using a resource like this Glass Factory. So that's the best I can do. Naming my brand. Recently, I've been working on my first streetwear brand. A few days ago, I decided to name it Off the Grid because I think it's meaningful. I already have a resell profile with the same name and 1,300 plus followers. But now I'm not sure if it's a good enough name, so I want to ask you, what do you think? Should I keep the name or change it? I would really appreciate your honest opinion on this. The meaning behind the name Off the Grid represents independence, adventure, and breaking away from the norm. It represents commitment to authenticity and uniqueness because you don't need to follow the grid, right? And you do the same stuff as everybody else. It doesn't directly relate to the outdoors. It embodies freedom and departure from conventional living. This is a good question. Look, I have opinions about naming the brand, but it's one of those things that it is in some ways opinionated, like it's subjective, and otherwise objective. And the ways in which, I'll start with objective, the ways in which it's objective, someone's view on a brand's name is memorability. Like how easy is it to remember, or the ability to pronounce it. How easy is it to pronounce because, you like to be able to really take advantage and leverage word of mouth marketing, you need to have people remember your name and be able to pronounce it. So they're like two examples of something you could say, this name is most definitely easier to pronounce than this one, or this name is definitely more memorable than this one. So that's something objective, but naming in general, to say I like this one more than that one, that's subjective. So my personal opinion, I wrote a little comment here, but I think my personal opinion is that the best names for brands are one-word names, because all of the examples that I can think of the top brands, the most known and notoriable brands, the brands with the most notoriety in society are those that have one name. I can think of Apple, Adidas, Supreme, Nike, Champion, Vans. These are all brands that have one name, and if there is a meaning behind them, usually what they'll have is some sort of tagline or slogan. So it's like Nike is just do it. Vans is off the wall, and like things like this. So, technically, like Nike probably could have been called Just Do It, but I don't think it's as memorable as Nike because it's one word, and for that reason. So, I mean, something you could do is go to like thesaurus, and this is where you can find related words or similar words. So if you, for example, let's have a look here. What was your name that you originally had? Yeah, Off the Grid. Right. Okay, let's use some of the words you use here. Independence, right? So just to like ability, autonomy, sovereignty. I've never heard that word before. Anyway, this is one way you can like put in a word and find synonyms of that word, and that could be a brand name or influence a brand name. Now, the other way is ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. Some people don't like it for naming, but let's give it a try. Just because I think if you have the right input, you can get something really good out of it. So let's put this in. Like, I'm just literally going to copy and paste the thing. Let's see what it comes out with. I've been working on a streetwear brand. Okay, so I'm just going to put it at the end. Give me, so off the grid, give me 5 name options that are all one word names. Keep in mind the words I used before to describe my brand. It doesn't have to be adjectives. You can use made up words. Get creative. Or you can use words with particular historical or social meanings or background context. You'll notice when I'm typing this in, I'm not at all thinking about grammar or how do I say this in a concise manner. The idea is just saying it in the quickest way possible because I just want to get my answer. Okay, let's have a look. Off the grid is a strong name. Okay, cool. Here's some ideas. Vanguard, Maverick, Zypher, Nomad, Axiom. Axiom? So let's have a look. Vanguard, the word means the forefront, new development of ideas. Cool name. Maverick signifies someone who thinks and acts differently or independently, sorry. Zypher, a gentle breeze. It's symbolizes the effortless or free spirit nature of your brand. Nomad, freedom, departure from conventional living. So look, I mean, case in point, here is 5 names that you could type in, and like here's what I'd do to go even further. I'd say I like number 2, but there's already a brand named Maverick, right? Give me some similar alternatives, right? Because maybe I want to go down this. So okay, Renegade, Outlier, Pioneer, Rogue. Oh, it's got giving me 5. Vagabond, right? So here is some. You could even say explore the idea of using other languages to name the brand. Give me 5 options. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. This is just ideas that I'm putting it just off the top of my head. Aventura, that's Spanish. I don't know how to pronounce the rest of these. Sonda, maybe, right? So I don't know. Like, I mean, Sonda's a pretty cool name. Like, again, one word, super memorable. Like, anyone could remember that. So there's my tips for naming a brand. Just some things to think about is memorability and the difficulty in pronunciation. Just think about those things. And it's especially helpful if you want to have a name with a meaning, which I'd highly recommend because you can really craft a very specific niche. I mean, go to the Streetwear 365 masterclass for more about that. Okay, next one. Any advice on how to scale and regulate my sales? Right now, I run solely organic content, no use of ads. I have recently invested quite a bit into new products and packaging in other areas, so I'm saving to then try ads. But I feel my views have declined in the past year or so. Even thought my products have gotten better and I feel content has as well. My goal is to average 100 sales a month. Right now I do 30 to 60 with my best months so far having 83 sales. Does anyone have any advice? How can I achieve these goals? Whether that's through improving my organic reach or any other areas I can look to implement, as I've tried many things and I feel stuck at the moment. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. My brand pages are YKTV Clothing. Okay. On TikTok. Okay, this one's IG. Cool. Let's have a look on IG. I think it gives us the best approach. So, okay, the issues with scaling and regulating sales. Scaling and regulating sales. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, so okay, the page is filled with products. So okay, my first instinct or my first idea, theory when I come and look at this page is that it's hard to regulate sales because you've got a lot of one-time buyers, right? Which essentially what people are doing is you're attracting them by the product. They come and buy the product, and when that product's no longer available, they dip. Or when they've fulfilled that satisfaction. And I always return to this statement. It's how you get them is how you keep them. So if you get them by the product, if you attract them for the product, then once that desire is satisfied, or that product is no longer available, or you don't live up to that standard the next time in your product, they leave. And so that can be a problem because instead of accumulating customers, what you're doing is it's you have this influx and then it comes down, influx and then it comes down, and every time you're trying to get, like, every marketing effort is trying to get new customers every single time. And so a couple of suggestions with this is the first one being, instead of selling the product, sell your brand first. It's not that you shouldn't sell the product, but save that sell for last. Instead, sell your brand first, because that's the one thing, your brand is the one thing that withstands everything else. It's the foundation. It doesn't, from drop to drop, it's the one thing that stays consistent. And for that reason, if you get them in, if you attract them because of what they love about your brand, well, that's something that they get to stick around for. And so instead of it being lots of one-time buyers, you get more repeat customers, because they have reason to stick around, and it's not, and so that's when your marketing efforts become accumulative. And so what I mean to suggest is that instead of every time you're marketing, you having to get a whole nother group of customers again, you can just build upon the ones you previously accumulated, so that you're always increasing the number of sales from month to month. And so that's what you get by having lots of long-term buyers. And so you can to do that, you can sell your brand first and then sell your product. Now, some drawbacks on that. You will experience less sales in the short term. You'll flick to this strategy and you'll go, "Oh, what the hell am I doing?" Like, I've implemented this strategy that he said, and then now my sales have gone down. Yes. However, if you're serious about this being a long-term investment for your time and money, if you want this streetwear brand to be a career, then you need to do some work in getting those loyal customers, and they take more work. However, they pay off more as well. And so that's how you regulate your sales, by doing accumulative efforts. And the other thing I want to mention on that point is that there's 4 types of customers. There's prospect customers, those who are interested in buying. Then there's regular customers who have bought once. Then there's loyal customers, people who've bought 2 or more times. And then there's past customers. And those are the people that bought once, but they've lost interest in your brand. They're never going to buy again. Now, when someone becomes a customer, they've got one of 2 choices. It's either they become a loyal customer or a past customer. There's no other way to go. And you can determine, or you can influence that decision. You can influence whether they become a loyal customer or a past customer with retention strategies. And so one of the other retention strategies you can implement is posting value content. I might get into this because I like this t-shirt, but it's going to be hard to retain me. Again, how you get them is how you keep them. So it's going to be hard to retain me if you just keep posting the clothes, because eventually, this is going to get a bit old, right? There's only so long that humans can hold their attention on shiny objects, or hold their attention on products that don't really have life. And so what you want to do is you want to give life to the products. And the way you do that is selling the stories, telling the stories behind the product. Share your brand message. And so I don't know what your brand message is. Here you go, our story. Let's have a look what's here. because then I could give you some content examples that you make from this. Unrealistic dream, passion for clothing, worked at tireless. Okay, so this is the brand how you started. Hustle being ingrained in our lifestyle. Okay, this is it. So hustle. Okay, what's this idea of hustle and how do you turn that into a story? Well, what you really want to do is you want to find people who are hustlers. Like you could have a podcast about hustlers and what they're doing. It's nothing about your clothing, it's just about hustlers. And you post clips of that. Or you could post like quotes, motivational quotes for hustlers, right? You're just trying to think what kind of content are hustlers looking at? What kind of content could I make about hustlers? Specifically thinking about stories, because stories are engaging, they're always evolving, and they never get old. Forever we are telling stories. And so that's how you can retain customers. And statistically speaking, if you simply have a follower that is retained for a longer, if the lifetime of your follower is extended, the statistical likelihood of them buying more times is increased. And that's because they see more sales. They see more clothing drops, and therefore they're more likely to buy more times. So that's how you can regulate the sales. Let's see if I put anything else here. When people do find your page, there's already a foundation of organic. Yes, that's true. Let's see, did I miss anything here? Whether it's, yeah. So yeah, definitely. Oh yes, the other thing is, my goal is to average 100 sales per month right now. Where did I see the thing about your investing? Oh yes, right now I'm run solely organic content, no use of ads. I have recently invested quite a bit into new products and packaging and other areas. So I'm saving to then try ads. Yes, okay, this is a mistake many brand owners make, and it's that they increase the supply or the quality of the supply before they increase the demand. And so the way you increase the demand, all things being equal, you double your audience, you double the demand. Or you double your customers and you double the demand. And so instead of reinvesting, like it's good to reinvest your profits into your product. That's good. However, you can only increase the quantities of garments that you're selling to a point, because after that point, you're then increasing the supply in a disproportionate amount to the demand that there is. And that's not only to do with the number of orders, it's also to do with the products and packaging. And like if you're investing everything into the products and packaging, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And the reason why is because you're forgetting where the source of the money is. Where is the source of revenue? The source of revenue is the people who are holding the money in their hands. Who are they? They're your customers. Who are your customers? They're members of your audience. If you don't have a brick and mortar store, nearly 100% of your customers come from social media. So it's your social media audience then. And so if nearly 100% of your revenue comes from social media, then why wouldn't you invest back into social media? If that's true, why wouldn't you invest into where your customers are? And I say that to make the point that as a social media streetwear brand or an e-commerce business of any kind, but specifically for fashion brands, why are you not investing back into your content creation? And there's a few ways you can do that. You can invest into education, like educate yourself, buy a course, spend money on a mentor, private coaching of some kind. That's someone that can help you create content that works better than it did before. And thus, you're making an investment into your own education that in turn allows you to increase your audience and therefore increase your revenue and increase your sales. That's an investment that can be indirectly related to a positive return on investment, which is the point of any investment we make, right? Another investment you can make into social media would be to creating content itself. Increase the quality of the content, have a higher production value, right? What models can you hire? What actors can you hire? Like, can you make a longer form piece of content? Another way is thinking about, well, how can I increase the volume of content that I'm putting out into the world? Well, one way to do that is you could hire an editor, because that means that you take some of the workload off you, which means you can have time for other tasks, increase the volume or increase the amount of content that you're putting out, right? Or just commission one. Or even if you commission one, you can still be making the same amount of content on the side. You just have someone to help you now. And so you're able to double the amount of content that you're making already. Money isn't the only investment, time also is. So the same goes. If 100% of your revenue originates on social media or from social media, then why wouldn't you be investing more time into it? So I see all these brand owners that say they don't have enough time for social media because they're working on their next drop. But like, who are you selling your drop to? It's like, why are you working on your next drop? Like, you might be working on your next drop right now, but here's the thing. If you just focus all your time on your next drop, you're not going to have anyone to sell that drop to because you totally put social media on the back burner. And so I would suggest, if you've already invested a lot into products and packaging, ease off on the products and packaging. Keep putting the same amount into it. Don't put more into it, right? Sell the already good product you have, sell the already good packaging, and then use extra profits to grow your audience, right? Grow your audience, because money can accelerate your growth. That is the truth. Money can accelerate either through education or just pure quantity of content or quality that you're putting out. Money can do all of those things. So yeah, go easy on the products and packaging for a little bit. Invest into where your customers are, which is your social media. And that should help you scale and regulate your sales. And ads too, do some of that too. Cool. I hope I answered that question. We're going good. My website, Tristan again, let's have a look. I think my site is quite strong, but I was wondering if there's any direct changes or suggestions anyone would make to increase conversions. Okay, let's have a look. Come on now. All right, welcome to the Vibes clothing brand. Home, our collections. Okay, this is confusing me at the top. Look, I just want to preface everything I'm going to say with, I'm not a website expert. Okay, I know a few things about improving your website, about having a high converting website. However, I don't know everything. So I'll say what I know, and if I don't know, I won't say it. But anything that I'm going to say is only some things that I'm sure of. So welcome to the Vibes clothing brand. Okay, the Vibes. Okay, that's the acronym. See, I didn't get that at the beginning. So this is a bit confusing in the beginning. Maybe, I think maybe it needs to be changed because it's a little bit confusing. Like, even if you did something like put it in the same font as this, see how you have on the logo here, you have the white outline and the black in the middle. You could do the same thing here just for the Vibes, and that could even draw a bit of a relationship between the logo and the name, just to make that clear. So welcome to the Vibes clothing brand, our favorites. Okay, interesting. You got I suppose these are your best sellers or something like that. Okay, cool. That's your product. All products, hoodies, sweaters and bottoms, jackets and coats, t-shirts, videos. Okay, this is, I guess, seeing it on the person or seeing more of the garment. Okay, yes, looks legit. Subscribe for updates. Stay up to date with news about, the Vibe clothing brand and catch our latest deals. Cool. Look, okay, one thing I will say about it is there's a lot of call to actions here on one page. So first, I've got a selection here about the favorites, right? So I could go into any of these, and it's not exactly prompting me, but then it's like, then I've got another 4 selections here. And then down the bottom here, I have subscribe for updates. And then also, like, when I start at the top, I could go in any number of directions. And so my issue with so many directions that I could go as a customer is that I suffer from decision fatigue. And it will lead me to not making a decision at all. And so this is a common issue with like Instagram bios where people put like so many links in their bio, and the same goes with pages where it's like, oh, do this and do this and do this and do this. What I would suggest to you, Tristan, is pick one call to action. Just one. Like, what's the one most important thing that they could do to get the highest conversion rate, and just do that one thing. And like that could be like buy our products. Like, for example, I think it's the snake hole. Let me show you this example, the snake hole. Yes, okay. Look at this. On their page, there is like it's clear, straight to the point. Oil spill Sherpa's fleece. So this is their latest drop, or whatever. Down here, it's the same. It's from the same collection, right? And then down the, like, it's probably not the best example actually. Because they got lots of, I mean, I think it's okay to have all like the selection because you need all of this kind of thing. But the point is, like, there is one clear call to action in all of this. And this is their homepage. And I think actually what I wanted to show you is, where is it now? Yeah, snake hole is here. This is their work in process. Okay, if I go to the link that's in their bio, web store. Yeah, so if I go to the top link, have a look at this. Like, they take me straight to the store page, which cuts out any of the need for decision making, because it takes me exactly where I want to be. So this is an option, is just to forego the whole idea of a homepage and just have a store page, right? It's not necessary. Like, sometimes you do need an extra page or a store page or something, but you might want your main page to just be the store page with your list of products, and you filter by latest release, or you filter by bestseller, right? Or you just have like 2 bestsellers here, and then the rest is just the latest release, and then, you know, goes in chronological order. That's a really good way to do it, because the thing is, if considering your customers, they've already been in contact with your brand by your Instagram page. Like, think about it. Your traffic probably isn't coming directly from the web to your store page. They probably followed you first here, and then they've gone to here. And so thinking about that journey of your customer, of starting with your Instagram page and then going to the store page, allows you to predict the reason why they're on your store page at all. And I think that's really powerful to do that, because then you say, well, if they're clicking on my link in my bio at all, they're probably just going to this page. Like, they'd probably just go into the store page. Now, one other thing that I was going to say about your store page is that you have lots of call to actions. At the bottom here, I notice you have a newsletter. One suggestion I was going to make is that you might want your primary call to action on your store page to be to sign up for the newsletter. So if I use an example like Mertra, oh goodness, no, they changed their store page. Oh, this is so bad. No, I was going to show you the... Damn. Okay, I can't show you this page. They changed it. They had this really great store page where it was just their newsletter. I'm trying to think of another brand that has this. Like, let me just search most exclusive brands. I think, like, there's lots of... Okay, no, actually... Oh, I can't think of one that has it right now. Maybe it's like Blues and Greens. Let me see if Blues and Greens has it. Nope. They don't. Oh, this has just ruined my whole example. Okay. Look, my example was going to be of a store page that just has the newsletter. That's it. Like, they just have subscribe for updates to the newsletter, because they know. So like, it's literally just one page, totally blank, and all it is like subscribe for updates, or just put whatever your thing is here. Because email marketing is super powerful. And one thing about marketing and sales in general is that it's hard to make a buying decision, because it's a big jump to put money on the table. That's real commitment. However, if you can have a series of smaller steps, baby steps leading up to the buying decision, it's a lot easier to say yes. It's a lot easier to say yes when you have the lead up of many other decisions. So that is why many brands just put their newsletter on the store page as the only thing. Like, you can't click anywhere else. It is just a page to subscribe to the newsletter. Like, I think a good friend of mine has this, although he used to be a part of a clothing brand. Yep, here we go. This is exactly it. This is exactly what I mean. So Casper Tremler is a friend of mine. He used to have a clothing brand. Now he's an advisor for clothing brands. Look, gain insider knowledge to launch and evaluate and elevate your clothing brand, saving you from wasted time, money, and effort. Right? Great. This is the only thing. Like, you cannot go anywhere else on his page. And so this is a good option, because people opting in with their email is one baby step that represents a step closer to actually making the sale. And then all you do is you build your newsletter massive, and then you do limited quantity drops, post an email to your newsletter, and they get first access to the drop. And they go to, like, whatever, your store page, all products page on your website. So that's some things I'd say about your website, some tips for you. Just to summarize, have one goal with your store page, one call to action, put it really big here. Like, put some sort of button here, or some way to get there. And even just like, I'm not a fan of these navigation bars at the top. I'd remove that entirely, because again, people on this page don't want choice, they want direction. So I'd remove it entirely. Just direct them exactly where you want them to go. Don't give them options. And if you have options, like, put the navigation at the bottom. Like, literally just have this bar down here, or even with these links. So that's another thing. I hope that was helpful. So let's go back to our school page, and let's see what other... wrong place. Let's see what other questions we got here. My website. Okay, TikTok ads. Let's have a look. I was talking to someone, and they said they essentially started with just $10 on TikTok ads, got a sale, reinvested their profit, and done that on repeat until they got the video to 1 million views, and they got a lot of sales. Was wondering if anyone has any success with these ads or has any advice. I haven't got too much advice on ads, because I'm still experimenting myself. However, having interacted with many brands as they were doing their ads, one thing I will say is it helps having a foundation of organic content before doing ads. And the other thing I will say is that there's no chance, or if you can, like, paying to boost content is not going to make it good, right? So if it doesn't already work, it's not going to make bad content work. However, it can make something good even better. So my point is with that is that if you can make something organic work crazy well, like, and when I say work crazy well, the metric that I'm using here, or I'm thinking of in my head, is the ability to prompt action. So if a video that you've posted has prompted people to comment, has prompted people to go to your profile page, or whatever it is, that's a piece of content that is prompted action. If you boost a piece of content like that as an ad, it's going to go crazy, right? It's going to go nuts. But if you have a content that doesn't prompt any action, it's already sucks at that, putting money into it is going to be just expensive. So I'm not going to say you won't get any sales, because, well, you probably will eventually. but it's going to be expensive, the customer acquisition costs. And so that's what I'd say with ads, but I can't say too much more because I still need to experiment on them myself. Okay, so that was the Q&A for today. I hope this was helpful for everyone who had their questions answered. Let me encourage you, please write some, like in this section box up here on our community page, click write something, write your question, type out a bit more information about your problem, and then when you go into select category, put it under questions, post this, because every week on Mondays I'm answering the questions, the ones that I can in the chat, and the ones that I can't, or either way, if I can or I can't, there's still going to be people who interact with you and answer questions in the community itself. So please ask your questions, and I really hope this was helpful, and I will see you next week for another Q&A.